The reality is multitasking has been occurring well before we even did the study. A good friend of mine, Tony Marlowe and Ross Ramuno, they did a study with Nielsen and found that 75% of consumers were actually multitasking while watching TV. The number one thing was actually the internet. And so we wanted to kind of bring to life what it meant to multitask using the mobile device. And one of the interesting things that we're starting to see in some of the mobile work is the fact that we think of this device, as Amber Case, who did a great TED Talk, as an exogenous appendage. We're cyborgs in a sense, and it's really starting to become a part of our everyday existence. And we called it the 4Cs in the mobile mode study. It's all around this concept of becoming a communications utility and now actually connecting with our communities. And so 51% stated that they check their email on a daily basis, 41% for social. It really enhances the way we consume content. A third of consumers were reading news, sports, weather on a daily basis and watching video, a fifth of them. And the last thing is really the whole cultural element. We're using our phones because 55% say that they're leveraging it to really figure out what their friends are up to and what's going on around them. And so this device is becoming increasingly important, and specifically when it comes to multitasking, we found in our study that 80% of mobile smartphone owners are multitasking, and that translates to roughly 90 million Americans out there with these devices. And what's fantastic about it is half of them do it on a daily basis, and they're checking in at least 1 to 2 times when they're watching TV. Now, I think one of the real opportunities is thinking about what they're actually doing, and part of it is this concept of connection as well as content. It's pretty obvious that you might think social could be the number one thing, but it's talking, texting, email, and social. And really the main implication there is thinking about how to interject yourself as a brand into some of those word-of-mouth conversations. And the next thing obviously is the content. Some of that content is obviously not related to the show you're watching, and then other times it really is. And so really identifying what your core consumer is actually into and being part of that content is going to be increasingly important, especially on that second screen. And one of the things is 25% of consumers are also chasing those breadcrumbs that advertisers are actually putting out there, so that from a digital perspective, we need to start to think about what those experiences look like on the web OS, either on tablet or even on the smartphone. How do you actually harness those breadcrumbs and really bring them to life? And so we were really excited to partner with Razorfish because it gave us a great partner to really talk about just the opportunities, just looking at consumer behavior. And that's really what excited me about looking at this whole concept of multitasking.